hello, and welcome to My Psychic Connection presents Astrology Breakdown. I am Squirrel, and this is Astrology Breakdown. What we're going to do here today is we're going to see what's going on in the sky right now, possibly talk about some of what's coming up during the week, and we are going to answer any of the questions that you have for us that have to do with astrology. But I'm not going to do this by myself. Now, you guys know that Journey handed the baton over. I'm going to miss the heck out of Journey. But I have energy with me. Everybody say hello. She is my new co-host and I learned astrology with energy. We went through astrology together. So we 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 very much taught each other.
The trials and tribulations of the mathematics of astrology. I remember it well.
Oh man, yeah, yeah. I don't do math. Well, I have to, like pay the bills and stuff for math. But my brain is not a math brain. I would not have survived without this woman here.
Vice versa, vice versa. Together we make up an astrology person.
Yeah, right. So, this is why we work together so well. I was
Yes.
like, we even look like sisters. I swear we do. We do. So, all right. You want to start off with what's going on in the sky right now, or would you like me
Yeah,
to do that?
sure.
All
I'll have a
right.
go at that one's first off. So, of course, we're looking at what's going on in the sky at the moment. And when we're looking at that, we're looking at the energies and the interpretations of the planets and how they relate to each other. So, at the moment, we have our sun in Scorpio. So, if you are a Scorpio zodiac sign, that means the sun is in your home sign at the moment. And at the moment, we've got it conjunct, which in the sky means it's next to, and it's next to the planet Mars. Now, this is a really strong conjunction because the sun is a fire energy, it's a masculine energy, and so is Mars. Mars is all about action, it's all about doing. And being in Scorpio, we relate that to our emotional being, to those deep, intense emotions. So, the positive aspects that I see today with that Sun Scorpio conjunction with Mars as in Scorpio as well, we're looking at excess energy. We're looking at energy to burn. And this on a good day can be really productive. You can get things done. You can jump in. You'll be focused. You'll be intense. You'll be very protective of your project. But on the shadow side, what can happen is you can become so obsessed that you forget everything else. And you can become so obsessed that you're in fighting mode to get things done. So just be aware of that because the emotions of this particular conjunction run very deep. Also today, we have Mercury in Sagittarius, and that is sextile. In other words, it's happy with, it's in harmony with Venus in Libra. Now, Venus is the planet in astro terms that rules Libra. In other words, Venus is at home in the sign of Libra. So this is all about our love relationships. It's about those one-to-one partnerships. And when we've got the Mercury in Sagittarius there, Mercury in Sagittarius, Mercury is about ideas, communication. Sagittarius is out there exploring. So when we have these in harmony, what it brings to me is that this is a fabulous time for you to have those deeper, longer term conversations about the future of your relationship, for example, about how you want to move forward together and what is the big picture moving forward. So that's just a little bit about today of what's happening in the sky. What do you think,
That
Squirrel? How are you going with it all?
I think like that I did not think it all the way through today, but when you were talking about the shadow side or the darker side of that conjunct between the sun and Mercury, in me, instead of being like super, super hyper focused, I've been chasing my tail all day. Like, I gotta get this done, I gotta get this done, I gotta get this done, and I got shit done. You know, no, like, oh, I got shit done. No, I didn't get nothing done because I was chasing my tail like for hours in a frenzy of everything I needed to do. It was like overwhelming type of thing. So it can come across as that like that way too. And I didn't equate it to what was going on in the universe around me. And one of the things that we keep telling everybody is knowledge is half the battle. If you know what's going on in the universe around you, you can combat it with logic. You can combat it. Okay, I'm chasing my tail because there's this conjunct and I'm feeling this pressure to do it. But it just, I guess there was so much pressure, I forgot I was an astrologer.
It happens. It's called life. But that's so true what you're saying about Mars. I mean, Mars doesn't think. Mars just acts. That's
Yes.
what, so, that kind of makes sense. And the sun in Scorpio, I don't know what you think about this, but for me, the sun in Scorpio, it's a little bit slower because it's fixed water energy. So it's a more fixed, steady. But that Mars coming in, I think, throws that Scorpio fixed energy out of kilter and throws
Yeah.
everything off a little bit emotionally as well.
Oh yeah, I have to agree with you there. And Mars does love being in Scorpio. It's rulership of Aries and Scorpio. And Audrey gave us a heart. I could
Ah.
never do that right. There we go. I got it. But it's like Aries is the masculine rulership from Mars, and Mars is the feminine rulership of Scorpio. Hello, Maria. Welcome. It's her first time here. So
Hello.
the way I like to explain this, is like, what is the difference between Mars in Aries and Mars in Scorpio? Mars in Aries, if you think of it in a military way, because Mars is also the god of war, but it also is our ambition, our aggression, our desires, how we pursue our desires. So Mars in Aries to me is like a full-on frontal assault. And Mars in Scorpio is that ambush you just don't ever see coming.
And that's one of those things where, that saying, revenge is sweet. That could be Sun in Scorpio conjunct Mars in
Oh,
Scorpio.
right, 'cause that's when it's like, "Oh, it's time."
I've been, Scorpio will sit on it, and they will stew on it, and they will plot about what they want to do to get revenge. But when that Mars comes in, yeah, you're right. It's time. Make it happen.
It's on now with the sun too, because that sun directed right to your ego, especially, like, we're not telling anybody to get revenge right now,
No,
but if
don't.
sun conjunct Mars in Scorpio, that ego can get in the way because the sun is who we are, internally, our ego, our awareness of others, our reaction to others. So if you have been spurned, really, really be aware that right now you could be egged on to get that revenge because your ego is going, how dare they? But really think it through. It's better to daydream about it than to actually go and enact upon it.
And if you've got a great imagination, you'll really enjoy it.
We both energy and I have Mars in Scorpio, so
Yes. Look
yeah.
out.
It's a good thing I don't have anybody I wanna, revenge on right now, huh?
Same here. Same here. I'm love and light today.
So, in addition to those aspects that you were talking about, we also have, so we know we have Sun in Scorpio as well as Mars in Scorpio, but we also have that Moon in Capricorn, which is actually fantastic because that'll bring us down to grounded. If I Especially if we're trying to go after our ambitions, instead of just going in all emotional, that Capricorn moon is going to rein it back in and say, "Oh, let's plan this out. Let's plot this out. Let's make it make sense." So that is a fantastic part of the aspects today or the transits today. Then we have Mercury in Sagittarius, which is flipping beautiful. I know it's considered detriment or fall. I can never remember exactly which, because Gemini moon. I but it is detriment or fall, but I think it's because Sagittarius is so expansive and so in pursuit of ideas, and so many come so fast that Mercury in Sagittarius can almost be harmful because it's like a barrage of ideas and new ways of doing things. So knowing that if you guys are getting sparks and ambitions and ideas coming in like crazy about all kinds of different things, write this stuff down because those ideas are coming in so quickly that you're having a hard time keeping up with them. Then we have, as Energy said, Venus in Libra. We've got Jupiter retrograde Taurus. Um, Uranus retrograde Taurus. Then we have Saturn in Pisces and Neptune retrograde in Pisces and Pluto in Capricorn. So there's a really, really strong mix of water and earth, which is emotion and common sense or value. So I prefer that to water and fire, but it's a pretty equal water to earth thing going on. Just those aspects are all with two of them with Scorpio. Water makes it a little intense. So, you have anything to add to that energy?
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And of course, when you think about it, when we're looking in astrology, we have this thing called polarities, and we have a positive polarity and we have a negative polarity. And what that means is with the positive polarity, that's things that are outside, outward, going out. With the negative polarity, it's more inward, what we attract to ourselves. So when we look at the earth and water elements that are the strongest ones in the chart at the moment, they are both quite harmonious in some respects because they are both that negative or inward feminine polarity, not feminine as in person, but feminine as in energy that draws in and attracts. So I found that really interesting as well. I'm so glad you brought that up, Squirrel, because we kind of forget about the elements a lot of the time when we're looking at our astrology, don't we?
Oh yeah, yeah, and also the polarities, the masculine, feminine, or positive, negative. And I hate that we're reduced to words to explain them. It's never think positive, negative is in good or bad or feminine, masculine is in woman or man. It's more like the electricity type of positive and negative, where one needs the other to work. And that polarity is the most basic and the most repeated cycle in a chart. So it's a lot of astrologers just kind of skim right over that. But if it's repeated 6 times out of 12, so it's probably one of the more important aspects of a chart. You can see whether somebody is more masculine or positive to more feminine. And that doesn't mean like, okay, I have a very masculine chart. And it doesn't mean I'm not a girl. Of course I'm a girl. It just means I'm a more proactive, more loud, more ambitious maybe. Just and I do you can take one look at me, it's like, "Okay, she's a girl." But once I start talking, once I start moving, it's like, "Wow, that is not a girly girl." You know? I'm very masculine, incredibly masculine, and not just by traits, but by masculine means I'm proactive, I'm forceful, I move things instead of having things come to me as the feminine, receptive. Like, "No, I'm gonna push this stuff down your throat." No.
Oh, I love it. Push it, keep pushing astrology down my throat. I love every second of it.
I get so excited about astrology, and there are so many moving parts. Like, we just touched on just a couple of them, so it's
And it's
fascinating.
it's so hard to get your head around it. That's why it takes so long to learn it. One of the saving graces for me, and I can't remember if you told me this or someone else did. I honestly can't remember, but it's almost like there are three main moving parts, if you like. There are the houses, which are the areas of life, and if you imagine we've got 12 areas of life, and that's like a plate that sits on a bench. Then on top of that plate, we put another smaller plate, but it's got a little screw there and it can spin around. And that's the 12 signs that you know as your zodiac or sun signs. So they move around over the houses or the areas of life. Then we've got a third plate on top of that with a little screw that allows it to move around. And on that plate, we've got all the planets. So they're all just spinning around, but at their own speed, at their own time. The only thing that doesn't move are the houses, the areas of life. And gosh, when I learned how to look at it that way, it made it so much easier.
I love the way you put that. I absolutely love the way you put that with the plate. Is like when I learned that houses never move, man, it took me a month to wrap my head around that. I was like, I don't know. But that is why it's so important to know when your birth time is. We can do a chart without a birth time. We can, but it is a lot more shallow. I won't say shallow because you can still get a lot of meat out of it, a lot of depth. Speaking of plates, I want meat on my plate. Um, you can still get a lot out of it, but you get so much more knowing the time of birth because all those other pieces are still moving, but that plate stands still, and that's the time. So you can find your ascendant. You can find what signs are in what houses. And Journey says lots of water energy's been happening lately. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, this week is there's going to be some water energy going on as well, even after we move into Sagittarius. Is like it's a little too much water for me. I'm a Leo. I feel a little doused. Uh, oh, we got a question. We got Audrey.
Yay!
Hi, Audrey. Thank you for coming. She says, I got a huge question. LOL. What is your belief opinion about stars being fallen angels? Because of what I've heard, according to biblical terms, it means that maybe that God casted them into darkness for however long. In the book of Enoch, it says the stars are prisons for fallen angels. Um, Now I am familiar, not like really familiar with the Bible. I am a Christian, so I do know that I'm not familiar at all with the book of Enoch. I believe that's one of the lost books that were recently found, and recently could have been 100 years ago. I just know it was recently. As far as that goes, I think that might have been a tale. Um, a lot of the Bible was taken out or changed to acknowledge or change people to for men of power. Like there were times where we weren't allowed to read, women weren't allowed to attend church without a hat covering their head because we didn't want God to see them. A lot of different things. So I think this is one of the parables, one of the stories. And Audrey says, yes, it was a lost book or forbidden and taken out. I think some of those books were forbidden because they weren't in correlation with the Bible and what they were trying to portray. And my psychic connection says Christianity. By the 5th century, the Book of Enoch was mostly excluded from Christian biblical canons, and it is now regarded as scripture only by the Ethiopian Orthodox Tawahedo Church and the I can't pronounce that next word, Orthodox Tawahedo Church. So I think a lot of the Bible is stories that teach us parables, that teach us right from wrong. And I do believe that that one was legend or lore or mythology for the angels because since the beginning of time, man has been looking up at the stars and making up stories about what they were. I had a friend in high school. He thought that it was a big velvet blanket and he was in high school. Yeah, it was a big velvet blanket that somebody had put pinholes into so we could see the lights. I still to this day have never forgotten that because I thought it was adorable. And the sky does look like velvet with pinholes in it. But I think that's one of the stories that people made up and that the Christian church or the Catholic church, whichever part of the church took that out of the Bible, felt like it was too mythological or lore like. Now, I can't say for sure because I do not know. I am human, that they are not fallen angels. They're anything's possible. Everything is possible. And someday I will know. but not while I'm human. So I hope that helps and I didn't just talk in circles because that one threw me. And Journey says, "You're on the right track, squirrel. So proud." Thank you, Journey. Now, see, Journey, he's done quite a bit of biblical, like actual deep study. So he would have been a great one to have on the show tonight. And there was a quote or a something that said something and it went away. So, but the traditional Bibles also mention the stars in this sense. Things are so confusing. Life, well, you got to figure there are so many different people in the world. And if you even just think about all the different religions, none of us can say that, oh, they're wrong and I'm right. None of us can say that because we don't actually know. But each of them is pushing their own narrative. And that in itself is confusing. And we've got that for religion, but those of us that practice magic, those of us that practice psychics. I don't know the right word for it at the moment. We are individuals. We are unique, and all magic works different. Like my magic wouldn't work for you. Your magic wouldn't work for me. We have to find who we are and how we connect to the universe. And that's another way that the Bible is one of the strongest magical items out in the universe or in the earth at least as we speak. It is strong, strong magic, the power of belief. Holy crows. And Audrey says religion separated all of us. It does. It truly does. And while I am a Christian, I will never mock or disbelieve anybody else's religion because that is their magic. That is who they part of. And I do not have the authority or I have belief, but I do not have that authority, you know? So we got to just respect all of it. And there are people that believe that the stars are fallen angels. And science has proven that what they are physically, but that doesn't mean they can't prove where they came from. I mean, they're still working on that. So even science doesn't know all the answers. So
And I
again, I
think of
feel like go ahead.
I think of religion a bit like astrology. There are all different aspects out there, but which ones are important to you is based on, if you like, your culture, where you were born, the beliefs that were instilled into you by your parents, by your peers, by your society. And it's so I see religion a bit like astrology. It's like it's not one thing fits all. It's based on so many other things, because in your astrology chart, in your astrology chart, it's a blueprint of who you are essentially at the moment of your birth. And so, if you look at it from that perspective, you can either follow that astrology chart if you're aware of it, or you can go against it. The same thing applies when it comes to religion and religious outlook, or even spiritual outlook, even going beyond what I would call standard religions. Our spiritual outlook is so unique for each and every one of us because we each have our own experiences as well. Fascinating topic, though, isn't it, Squirrel? And
Oh my
great
gosh.
question from Audrey.
And Audrey says, "But dang, shouldn't it be one?" It never will be because there will be individual differences, cultural differences. The only way that any of this can be bridged is everybody to tolerate everybody's differences. And Journey says, "All is one." And he's right. And it is confusing. And Audrey says, "I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual." I would say the same thing. I was raised a Christian, but I am not religious. Religion does not seem to me, as I've experienced it, to have a lot of tolerance. Spirituality does. And I was gonna say, even with religions, even astrology has like there's Vedic astrology, there's Western astrology, there's Chinese astrology. And I know Western astrology, but even in Western astrology, there's like 16 different house methods. And astrologers will argue, mine is best, mine is best, mine is best. Neither of them is best overall, but they are best for who is reading and who is being read for. It's very individual, and we are going to remain individuals, but there's got to be a level of tolerance, and there should always be a level of curiosity so we might learn from each other. There's a lot to learn from each other, even if we have different views.
I feel the same way. And, it's like putting a big jigsaw. I remember being 14 and thinking I was so wise. You'll laugh at this. And I went to my mum and I said, Mum, I've got religion all sorted out. And she said, Well, have you, dear? I said, Yes. I said, Do you know that every religion that exists, they're all a jigsaw piece in the puzzle? And if everybody got together and tolerated each other and put all the pieces together, we might actually see the full picture.
Oh, oh, that is profound. I okay, yes, well said, Energy right, Journey says. Like, I saw the last name and just read it. But that was really I got ears, but good ones. And, even Audrey, yes, with all the explanation points.
my
That
mum, my mum
really
just my mum just looked like at me and said, "Well, that's an interesting thought, dear. Now eat your dinner."
oh, no, that was I want you to write that down and post it somewhere because that was really that struck a chord. That really
And I
struck a
kind of
chord. That was beautifully said.
and I kind of see astrology the same way. you know when we're looking at, like, you do synastry, for example, where we're looking at relationships between two people and what is positive about it and what is a challenge about it. Well, it's kind of the same thing. If you can put all those pieces together and understand each other from all of those different aspects, then there is opportunity for a relationship to really connect and grow and have that deep spiritual connection within the relationship, as well as the everyday.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm crazy about astrology. And Journey says, just like your birth chart, we are not one sign, we are all signs. That is why we are so con complicated and so co- like contrary, like contradictory. That's the word I was looking for. We're complicated, we're contradictory in and of ourselves, and we are flipping beautiful. Every last one of us. If you can understand your chart, the challenges you have to overcome, the things that are best about you that you should be showing. And Audrey gives this one. Let's see if I can do it again.
Ah,
I think that's a heart. Ah,
it is.
if we can understand all of that, and that's why an astrologer can help you. And you will find many different types of astrologers out there. But if an astrologer ever tells you you have a bad chart, walk away. Do not pay that astrologer. If you prepaid, cancel it. There's no such thing as a bad chart. It's how you play that chart out that makes it good or bad because there's a full spectrum of what you can be.
And that brings in that level of free will. People think it's the same with like tarot and other divination systems. People think, oh, well, tell me my future. What is my fate? But we have free will that we can apply. And applying your free will to your astrology, you might be told, well, look, looking at the chart today's a really good day to go and have that deep conversation with your partner, but beware of Mars, kind of thing. And that could work in your favor or it could work against you. So it's what you choose to do with that information that is key for each person individually, as opposed to just blindly following it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It does. It does. And Audrey says, well, aren't we all just energy? Yes, right now in human form. And energy remains like, I know there's this whole big scientific explanation like, brain poof, I'm not a scientist, y'all. But where even if something stops existing, say our human form, or no, let's not go there. Say I take this piece of paper and I burn it. The piece of paper no longer exists, but the ashes do. The smoke does. The piece of paper still exists in a different form. You cannot make nothing out of something, it still exists in another form. And Journey says, we're here for the experience. Yes,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yes.
And isn't it now, look, I'm trying to remember my high school science, and I was lousy at science, but isn't it Newton's first law that says energy cannot be created or ended, it can only be transmuted? And that's
Thank
exactly what you said in a
you.
much nicer way than me.
Yeah, but you said it the proper way,
No, I
like
don't
the
think it was the proper
scientific
way.
way. I kind of poorly paraphrased. I
One of the few
paraphrase
things
a
I
lot,
remember
y'all.
from science.
Yeah, yeah, Newton's laws. And Journey says, why do we get to talk about this when I'm not on the show? We're bringing the Journey bubble.
Yeah, where's the journey bubble? Liz, I'm over here with so much info lol.
I know.
We know. Oh, the astrology twins are at it again.
That's what that.
Timing.
Oh, hey. Well, we need to incorporate that name somehow.
Yes, yes. Or maybe we should say triplets with Journey.
The astrology triplets.
Ah, that is so funny.
I love
That
that.
is so funny. Me too. Me
Okay,
too.
let's see what else is going on in the sky this week. We've got the sun in Scorpio trining Neptune retrograde Pisces at 24 degrees exact. Now, both Energy and I, neither of us use those outer planets, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus often, unless they form an exact degree. And what exact means is that they're at the same degree and the same minute, no matter what aspect they're in. And the reason we don't use them is, well, I can't speak for Energy, but for myself, I don't think there's been enough research on the outer planets yet to really go into natal charts. And they're such slow movers that they're super generational, super generational. And I go with traditional rulership too. This Pluto ruling Scorpio, nope, I'm not that kind of astrologer. But I do feel that when it's a perfect aspect or an exact aspect, yes, it absolutely has impact on us as individuals. But the rest of the time, it's a generational impact or a global impact, not enough to affect us in our personal lives day to day. So we have this exact 24 degrees 17 minutes, Sun in Scorpio, trining Neptune retrograde Pisces. That's a lot of water, but it's a good trine. It's a fantastic trine. And it really helps us come to understand ourselves, helps us really see what we need emotionally to survive, and helps us really naturally come to the plans and decisions that we need to make to move forward as emotional well-being. So that is going to happen today, later in the afternoon, and it will move until a little bit into Saturday, and then it will do what it's called separating, where it will no longer be exact. It'll be moving away. And with that big planet, Neptune, once it's at a 0 degrees, I no longer count it. So, what do you have to say about that
Yeah.
energy?
Yeah. I'm exactly the same. I remember when we were studying, they weren't called outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. They were called exoplanets because they were way out beyond. And the impersonal planets were Saturn and Jupiter. And then the
Mhm.
personal planets were, of course, the ones close to the Earth. And so, what I was looking up while you were talking, because I don't know if people really understand this, because it's not something that, unless you're actually studying astrology, you would look at. But to give you an example, Uranus stays in a single sign for 7 years.
Yeah.
It takes 84 years to travel around. I've got the signs behind me, travel around the entire horoscope. Then Neptune takes longer. Neptune is in a sign for 14 years, and it takes 165 years to travel through each of the signs in the horoscope. And then finally, we've got Pluto. Pluto is in each sign for 21 years, and it takes 248 years to go all the way around the horoscope. So in terms of what we do day to day, yes, there is like an umbrella background energy there, but how does it affect the detail of our day? I don't feel that it has such a strong impact as the personal planets or as maybe Jupiter or Saturn would have. And that's another reason why I personally don't use them that much. And I agree with you, Squirrel. It's when they're exact. That's when they're at the peak of their energy. And that's where that might be that glimmer of impact that could happen in a person's life.
And we actually have, and that was beautifully said. Thank you for showing an example of how long those take to go around. I just said generational, but what you said really made it hit home. Wow. So in 20 years, everybody's not going to have the same trait as what Pluto would give us. It's just, I mean, that's what modern astrologies are trying to say, but everybody's going to be different. And it's those aspects with those exoplanets or outer planets that give us unique or individual traits. And not everybody has an aspect with them. They just don't affect some of us as strongly. But we do have one, two, three, um, and I think another one, at least 3 exacts this week. Yep, 3. 3 of them, and that's pretty odd with 2 of them being exoplanets, Pluto and Neptune. We've got exact, like, that's ground zero, that's the strongest impact of what an aspect can do, and then it's either applying before then where it's moving toward it, and then separating where it's moving away, and those are well, today heck, so we not only have the sun in Scorpio trining Neptune retrograde Pisces at 24 degrees exact, we also have Mercury in Sagittarius sextiling Venus in Libra at 9 degrees exact. And wow, and I believe that's 9 degree. No, no, we do have another exact. We do have another exact on Monday. And okay, so let me tell you these exacts, and then we'll go into those. Then we have on Monday, we have Sun in Scorpio. So Scorpio's still playing with us a lot and doing some serious, serious aspecting, even though we're almost out of Scorpio season. I can't wait till Scorpio season is over. But Sun in Scorpio is going to sextile Pluto in Capricorn at 4:27 p.m. Eastern Time at exactly 17 degrees and 17 minutes. And so that's 3 exacts, but then we got one on the same degree and the same minute. And as an astrologer, that excites me. What would it mean as a numerologist, Energy?
You were you were just reading my mind. I immediately went to numerology going 17
I
is
need
17.
to know.
Oh, well, the 17 adds up to the number 8. And the number 8 is about what we want to achieve. It's about our career, our work, what we want to manifest and bring in. It's also about money. Now, with that sun in Scorpio, sextile Pluto in Capricorn. Now, Capricorn is about career and work, how we seen publicly what we want to achieve. So, numerologically, the Pluto in Capricorn actually matches up with that number 8 numerology. And of course, we're in a number 7 year, and the number 7 year is closer to Scorpio energy because that's where we dive deep. We dive deep into the mysteries, the philosophies. We dive deep into research. So, Sun in Scorpio, where we're diving deeper within ourselves with that number 7, we're trying to analyze it all and work it out, but we're doing it from an emotional perspective. And then harmonizing with Pluto in Capricorn around how we want to manifest that out into the world successfully. Boom, there's the connection.
Ah, ah. Okay. And now I need to ask Destiny, what's the angel number? That's got to be an angel number. But I knew you would have a connection for it with numerology. Thank you. And that's, oh my gosh, the way everything works together. Numerology to astrology to the tarot to so many things that connect, and how
Yeah.
you were able to so like smoothly, like I just sprang that on you, and you were able to say this, and this, and I am so mathematically backward that I don't think I would ever be able to do numerology and retain it, but I got you, so I don't have to. And Journey says, go ahead and read that.
Okay, Journey says angel number 17 is full of spiritual significance, and seeing it can be a reminder from your angels that an abundance of blessings is coming your way. This is the perfect time to get clear on your ultimate goals and to have faith that it's only a matter of time before all that you desire will manifest before your eyes. What a beautiful message.
And see, okay, that is a beautiful, and thank you, Journey. Thank you for sharing that
Yeah.
with us. But that is exactly what that sextile is. A perfect
Yes.
time to manifest those goals and bring them forward. Holy crows.
And it's on a big scale. Oh, we've got the do you want to read the angel number for number 8,
And
Squirrel?
Journey says, when you see the angel number 8, it could be because the universe wants you to know that abundance is coming. That said, the abundance of blessings in the 17. Angel number 8 is a symbol of financial or material success, but can also be a sign of balance and inner stability, positive changes in your personal life, and the power of infinite possibility. Oh,
Wow.
wow.
And
Wow.
that power of balance and stability comes from the fact that the number 8, we're made up of two fours. The number 4 is all about stability, grounded, reliability, practicality. Times 2 makes it 8.
And you guys, this is happening Monday, November 20th. Now, it will be exact, like I said, 17 degrees, 17 minutes at 4:27 p.m. Eastern, but you will have all day to utilize this energy, both numerologically, astrologically, or thrice numerologically, astrologically, and angel numberly. And Journey says, there you go. There's both. Thank you, Journey. You always help. We need to get you back in here.
Yes, yes.
It's like we're a
Needs to be the
team,
triplets.
man.
Astro triplets.
We are a team. So that thank you. And the other exact, um, oh, there is a fourth. Okay. The fourth exact is the Sun conjunct Mars in Scorpio on Friday, November 17th at exactly 25 degrees. So, four
So that's when
exact.
it's really fired up, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
So
it's
we
reaching its
have
peak.
all week to really do some good things because that trine is positive, that conjunct is positive or can be positive, but we've talked about how to make that positive. Then that sextile from Mercury to Venus is positive, and then that sextile from the Sun to Pluto is stunningly beautiful. And then with the angel numbers involved, it's fascinating. And Tina Simpson says, "This intrigues me. Thank you." You're welcome, Tina. Thank you for joining
Oh,
us. And
yeah.
all of you, if we say something technical like astrology, I love to just be silly and say it's all Greek to me, but it was at first. It's like all the symbols and everything is all Greek. But if we use an astrological term and don't break it down into plain English, or if we say something you don't understand, please don't be afraid to say, I didn't understand that. Could you
Yeah.
explain it in a different way? Because energy is one of the best at finding ways to explain things that make sense.
Oh,
You really are. You really are.
thank
And
you.
we both have different ways of explaining it. So when if I don't make sense to you, energy will. And if energy doesn't make sense, I might. So never hesitate to say, "Could you explain that more fully?" Or, "Wow, that was just all Greek to me." I'll laugh every time you say that. But don't ever, ever be afraid to ask questions here because we don't expect y'all to know everything about it. Heck, we don't know everything about it yet. That'll take 172 years. And Tina says, "I'm a tarot reader and I try to work with numbers." Well, welcome, Tina. This will really help too, the astrology breakdown. And Tina says, "My energy has been crazy." There's some stuff going on and been for ever since Scorpio season came, we've had some trouble, Tina. It's been there were a lot of oppositions lately that may still have us out of sorts. And what an opposition is when planets are aspected exactly opposite each other. And what that does is it throws challenges at us that we've got to struggle to overcome. And knowing those challenges are there still, it's still hard. But not knowing that they're there or when they're there, we're all going, "I just don't know what I got hit with, and I'm going to bed." You know?
We all have days like that, don't we?
Journey says 17 degrees Leo, critical degree. This is also what the number 17 is, and I had to say it. Oh,
Yes.
critical degree. Dang.
I feel like it's one of those. There used to be an ad on TV for an apple strudel, and it was like layer upon layer, and we roll it again. That's what astrology and numerology and bringing in all the divination feels like to me. All
Do
we
it
got to do
again.
is bake
Do
it
it
now.
again. Do it again.
You fold it, then rolled it, then fold it again.
That's exactly what it's like. That is funny. That is funny. But we've got mostly a beautiful, beautiful week ahead. We've got, of
Yeah.
course, you've got moon changes every 2 days. That we've got that conjunct Sun and Mars in Scorpio all week long. We've also got that very playful, very uh, uh, luxurious Mercury and Sagittarius trining, or as you were sextiling Venus and Libra all week. And Tina says, "I'm an Aquarius with Pisces moon. You must be creative and empathic as heck. As heck. Aquarius sun and Pisces moon, that would be some beautiful, beautiful creativity. Don't Aquarius might tend to hold it back though. And my son is an Aquarius with the Pisces Mercury. So, okay, hey, I know you, Tina.
And Tina, also, the other thing about Aquarius is Aquarius likes to do things a little bit differently. They don't like to just be a sheep and run with the pack. So, in terms of your creativity, you can be actually quite
Oh.
unique around what you create as well.
Oh, yeah. So if you're using
What?
that Aquarius energy and she says berry, yeah,
Yeah.
let it out. Let that out. And she says LOL. Yeah, because you can be a forward runner with that. I bet you make some beautiful creations. Audrey says, "Yeah, I'm lost now. Ha. Daughter came in and distracted me. LOL. Oh no." And she's like, Audrey's like, "They speak in Greek now."
I guess the easiest way to remember the aspects is if it's a conjunction, a trine, or a sextile, you're good. It's good and positive. If it's a square, then it's a challenge or an obstacle that you may need to look at and consider how you might deal with it or overcome it. That's how I
Yeah.
always remember them.
And on that note, that is how they are taught, and I'm sure that you've noticed this as well. But I have found in my own experience that sometimes the trines and the conjuncts and the sextiles, sometimes it's too much of an energy and I get overwhelmed. It's really hard to keep up with. So not everything is there's nothing that's all good and nothing that's all bad. There are challenges and good sides to everything. But I have found most specifically that when there's a square or an opposition involved, those challenges are not necessarily bad because a lot of modern astrologers say, this good, this bad type of thing. And I probably shouldn't have said it that way because it showed how I feel about that. But those challenges help us grow. And opposition, like I'm Leo, which is opposition to Aquarius. Now, there are some Aquariuses that were just too challenging for me and I walked away. But there are some Aquarians in my life still to this day that those challenges that they give to me make me grow, make me think, make me a better person because they are in my life. So oppositions and squares can be a pain in the ass when they're happening, but they're very, very necessary for forward movement. Yeah.
And let's face it, that's kind of, well, from my perspective anyway, that's kind of why we're here on the planet. We are here to grow. We are here to experience. If we all came here and our entire life was just, at the spa, getting a bit of sun, ordering a cocktail, how would we grow from that experience? And I love what you said about, even though sextiles and trines and conjunctions are considered positive aspects, I love what you said. Too much of a good thing can turn it into a not so good thing because it can either make you too active or too lazy, to be perfectly blunt about it. So, if I've got an easy day coming up, I'll just sit back and go, great, I've got an easy day. And I might not do all the things that perhaps I was planning to do because I looked at my stars that day and it said, oh, you've got an easy day. All right, I'll just sit back. And I missed out on achieving something. With
Oh, yeah.
challenges, yeah, with challenges, with blocks, with those squares and with those oppositions, I could sit back and go, oh, well, it's all too hard. I'll just ignore it. And you might not achieve something that you would have otherwise achieved. Some of the greatest things that are achieved by the human race, looking back through history, were achieved because they focused on what the blocks were, what the challenges were, and they kept going and going and going until they found the solutions. They found their way through them, around them, over them, and it always turned out to be better. Look at the great inventions that we have, technology. It's because
Mm.
people have pushed through. Was it Squirrel? Was it Thomas Edison who tried to invent the light bulb? I don't know, over 100 times. And when he finally invented the light bulb, somebody said, but you failed all those times. And his response was, no, I learned not to do it that way.
Yes, that is a great, great example. And seriously, okay, this is where I was talking earlier about there are no such things as bad charts. A lot of astrologers will see a chart with an excess of squares and oppositions, and they're trained to think square is bad. And they will tell a person, you'll never amount to anything, or you've got a bad chart. And those people quit trying. They quit trying. Those challenges, if you've got a chart with challenges in it and you encourage that person to meet the challenges or they've got what it takes to meet those challenges, and most people with all those squares and oppositions got what it takes, they will try harder and become phenomenal. Where you have an easy chart full of trines and sextiles and everything comes easy to you and you just kind of go through the flow, you could have been phenomenal. You could have owned the flipping world with all those trines and sextiles, especially something called a grand trine. But things came so easily to you, you never tried. So that person with that quote unquote bad chart can get further with the proper motivation. Don't let anybody tell you your chart is bad or you can't do something, because if those squares and oppositions are in your chart, they're there for a reason and you're going to kick their butts. So,
Just take up the challenge, literally take up the challenge. I mean, I'll give you a personal example if that's okay. I was born on a full moon. Being born on a full moon means that the sun and moon are on the opposite sides of the sky. So they are in opposition. So astrologically, they are in opposition. My moon is in Gemini and my sun is in Sagittarius. Now, they're natural oppositions in a chart. That's if you looked at a chart without anything in it, they're natural oppositions. They're naturally, that's where they sit naturally on the chart. So I have this push pull between wanting to know the big picture and diving deep into information, which is what I do with astrology. And then my moon in Gemini says, oh, look, I just need the overview. Just give me the quick overview and I'll get it. And so I have this push pull all the time. Now, if I sat back and said, oh, well, today I'm just going to be superficial and tomorrow I'm going to dive deep, but I'm not going to try and balance them out. And so as I've gone through life, I have been looking at it from the, particularly since I've learned astrology. And Tina says, makes a lot of sense. Nothing comes easy for me. I love my challenges. Yes. So what's happened with me is that what I do is I'll give you an example. If I'm reading a piece of paper, I don't read it in depth. First, I scan it, get the general gist of it. Then I go back to it again and I read it in detail. And then I spend time thinking about it deeply. What does it mean? What other information can I bring in? So that's a way how you can positively use a challenge, or in this case, my opposition. So when they come up in your chart, don't think, oh no, think, how can I use this information, this opposition or this challenge to my best advantage? And that will just take some of the sting out of it being a challenge or a block or an opposition or a square. So hopefully you'll find that a little bit helpful.
And see, that's amazing because you're actually using like it's almost like it's amping your Mercury, your
Mm.
thought processes, because, Sagittarius is all telescopic. It's about the universe. It's about the world. It's what's going on all around you. It's the big picture. And Gemini is that microscope, what's going on right here, right now. And so you're seeing, the forest and the trees, which most people can't see. So I think that like doubles your IQ even though it's
But I
not Mercury.
but I could have gone the other way. I could have
Oh,
gone the
yeah.
other way and go, oh no, it's all too much. I can't work it out. I'm not going to try and deal with any of it. But
Yeah.
no, and since I've learned astrology, it makes sense. And on the days when I am more moon in Gemini, or when the moon in Gemini is in the current skies and it has a stronger influence in me, then I know through what I've learned about astrology that I don't have to succumb to that energy if I want to dive deeply into something.
Yeah. Yeah, and Audrey says, "My man is Sagittarius." Go Audrey. Got a lot
Lucky
of
you.
energy
Lucky
there.
you.
But I could just see you going, "Just give me the cliff notes."
There are definitely days when I can be like that.
I got that Gemini moon too. We are astrology twins.
We are
It's
astrology born and bred sisters.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
But
So Audrey,
life is crazy without astrology from my perspective.
yes. And Cassidy's here.
Yeah,
Hi,
hi
Cassidy.
Cassidy.
And speaking of Sagittarius, this week, well, from here to a week from now, because I know most people do weeks Monday to Monday, but I do them Wednesday to Wednesday. So, yeah. But next Wednesday, Sun goes into Sagittarius. Thank you, God. At 9:02 a.m. Um, I think it was Tina was saying she's had some crazy, crazy energy, and then energy and I were talking about how a trine can be good or bad, or how it can be too much of something in the bad way. We've had more trines with Scorpio going to other signs, uh, than I can handle. It's like a lot of emotional trines and sextiles just all over the place. And I'm about done with emotion, y'all. And when that sun comes into Sagittarius, it's gonna bring an immediate square with Saturn in Pisces, which is gonna be a lot of a pain in the butt. That's gonna be a hard square. But as soon as that square is gone, because it is the sun, so it won't stay there too long, But as soon as that square is out, I am going to celebrate. I'm going to scream from the rooftops, done with the emotion. We're in fire now, babies. It's too much water with all the trines and sextiles. This past month was really, really harsh. There was like almost all month, we had an entire stellium of Scorpio energy. And I love Scorpio. I do love Scorpio, and I have some strong Scorpio in my chart, but too much is too much. Okay, I just had to say that. S Please come, Sagittarius.
I and Cassidy the Cards thing says, "Hooray for Sag season!" Look, I can definitely. And Audrey says, "Great." Yes, I agree completely. And Cassidy says, "P.S. Squirrel, it's great to see you back in that chair." Yes.
All right. I'm leaving it behind, though. It's not going with me, Cassidy. I'm gonna miss my chair. It's like the cat hat has destroyed it, so
Well, I'm so excited for Sagittarius too because I have a son in Sagittarius. So it's December for me, like 24 November through to the end of the Sagittarius season. It's just going to be a high energy month for me. I'm looking forward to it.
and this Scorpio energy, yeah, we are both fire
Yeah,
signs, so it has been a lot
yeah,
for us.
yeah.
And
It's
Cassidy
the end
says,
of
"It's
an
the
era.
end of an era." Audrey says, "My mom was Scorpio, and we did not connect,
Yeah.
LOL." Yes, Scorpio has some amazing energy, but the intensity of it is hard for a lot of people to take. That like the focus of it is like, "Ooh." So I can understand that. And oh
And can
my
you
gracious,
believe it? We've got to the hour.
I just saw
Where has
that.
it gone? Where has it gone?
Oh, how does this happen? You guys.
Well, I know why it happens. It happens when you put a Leo and a Sagittarius together.
You should see us when we're on our she says, "Yes, she was intense. Scorpio is intense." When Energy and I get together to study or practice, hours later, and we've gotten maybe 5 minutes of studying done, but we're both typing everything, looking up, "What is this? What is this? What is this?" Love you guys, Audrey says. Aw, we love you too, Audrey. Thank you so much for coming and spending time with us, you guys. And thank you, Energy, for agreeing to become the co-host show. Wait,
Oh,
something like
thank you,
that.
my something like that.
And Cassidy asked, does that mean we get the Sag story next week? No. We get the Sag story the Tuesday after that's Thanksgiving coming up, right? So the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, we are getting the mythology of astrology, the origin story behind Sagittarius. So y'all don't miss it. And Tina says, have a beautiful night. Back to sleep for me. Thank you for spending the hour
Oh,
with us, Tina. Sweet dreams. That goes for all of you guys. Sweet dreams. And thank you. And we will see you the week after Thanksgiving. All right.
yes, yes.
I love you.
So we